Hey guys, here's a PV Windsor Studio Class A valve, which is an all-tube combo amp, single channel with foot switchable boost. Nice foot switchable boost, makes it almost a 2-channel amp. Also controls the effects loop. As you can see here, it's pretty straightforward. Main power, standby, important for a tube amp. Then we have your master volume, reverb, your effects loop, send and return right on the front, where it's handy. The boost switch that you can use if you're not using the foot switch. Why, I don't know. Treble, mids, bass, standard EQ, and a preamp volume, so you can push even more. Low and high gain input. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is bring you around the back of the amp, where all the fun stuff happens. Again, what makes this amp quite unique in this tube market, and that's what they call the power sponge, which is quite simply, it is an attenuator, so you don't have to buy a separate one for this tube amp. You can roll this sucker all the way down to 0 or all the way up to 100% if you want to push everything straight out the speaker and anything in between. What this means? Well, it means you can push your tubes, get the sound you want, whatever sound that may be, and still be able to back off the output from the speaker so it's not rattling the windows. You can also just turn it clean off if you're, say, recording, and use this, which is a microphone emulator circuit, using an XLR microphone cable out straight into the board, or straight into your interface to record on your computer, or whatever you want to do, so you'd never have to mic this amp. Some people still do, because it doesn't allow position of the microphone. It's pretty wonderful sound that comes out of this thing, but some people prefer more bass on the side of the cone and so on and so forth. But you don't have to or mic this amp. So what that means, you're going into the PA here, you can still have a little bit of volume coming out of this for a monitor if you wish, or nothing at all. Standard ground lift for any kind of hum through a PA or a system. Standard impedance, or impedance. People get freaky when I say impedance. 4 ohm, 8 and 16 depending on the cab you're going out to. Here is your speaker cab out, your speaker connection internally, your AC, and of course the PV Blue Marvel, which is really a nice speaker. This 12-inch does great things. And then a nice long spring reverb. Okay. Amp is very classic in its lines. I really like the way it looks. It has a 100-watt cousin in the form of a head and cabinet, which is just a spectacular looking unit. These things just look good. It's just this side of a boutique amp. It is self-biasing. What that means is right now it's set up for about 16 watts of tube power. So it's got 212 AX7 WBs in the preamp, which, how do I put it, gives the preamp section a little bit more bite. There's also a 12AX7WA, and what that tube does is just smooth sound out of your preamp. The WB gives a little bit more dirt. if you want it. If you don't want it, you don't have to. And there's an EL34 in the power section right now, so that gives me about 16 watts of output. You can swap them, and it's self-biasing, so you don't have to worry about any matched tubes, any bringing it to the shop. If you want a 10 watt amp, put in a EL84 or a 6V6. If you want a 20 plus watt amp, you can throw in a KT88 or a 6550, any octal tube. So you can mess around with brands, you can mess around with anything you want to get different tones, and not worry about damaging this amp or having to go to the shop. So I really like that. It's good to be able to experiment. In this demo, I am going to be running through this is a 2005 Godin Solidac. It is, there's the headstock, locking tuners. It is the forerunner to their LX, which also has, this has an LR Baggs acoustic pickup in the bridge, so I can get some pretty wild acoustic tones out of this rig as well as electric tones. Okay, now onto the amp. First off, we're just going to flatten the EQ, so everything's at 12 o'clock. Reverb off, and I'm going to give you some acoustic sounds out of this guitar, okay? And having this X bridge, this LR Baggs X bridge, is very, very responsive. We can be playing close to the neck, very Martin-y sounding, very smooth, jumbo. And then play a little bit closer to the bridge, and you get a very kind of Texas-y, Fender-y, piezo kind of pickup, or a Fishman type kind of a sound. So you get a real range here. And of course the amp, pristine clean, very, very clean amp at low volumes, which means it takes pedals remarkably. Of course, you can go in through your effects loop, but in front of this amp, effects are fantastic because it is so clean. It has remarkable headroom. I'm going to come right up to a 11 in the power section. This amp goes up to 12. And unless you really give it an attack, you just still clean. Back off the volume. Very clean. Like it a lot. Okay, we'll bring that down. Again, that's a flat line EQ. Okay, so put in a little bit of electric. And there you have it. Now we'll bring our master volume down, add some preamp, give it a little bit of bass, back off the treble a bit, and we have a really nice bluesy tone. Let's see. Quite nice, eh? And that is, of course, all in the low gain section. So we can now come into, and also 50% of the attenuator. So remember, you only got 50% no matter what you turn this thing up to coming out of the speaker. So you can, it's got great reverb. So we get a little bit of reverb, whole bunch of preamp, and you get some nice rock tones. And some boost. My volume down a bit and still be able to get some decent, say, you know, southern rock tones. That kind of thing. A little more bass. Quite nice. So, that's pretty much it. We could go on and on and on and on with tones, but what you need to know is that this little unit, the PV Windsor Studio all-tube amp, can do anything. Really can, depending on the tube you choose. No swapping out speakers, no swapping out capacitors, none of that crap. This thing does everything. And it's versatile, and it records, and it has line out, and it has, and it has, and it has. A lot of people don't like this amp. A lot of people give this amp a lot of crap. When I read the stuff, it's all coming from people that don't know what they're doing. They've never tried different tubes. They don't really know how the EQ works. 90% of the people I've talked to that don't like this amp have never tried it in the low gain mode. They say it doesn't have bass and it doesn't. Put it in low gain. You get some beautiful bass. Throw an EQ in the effects loop is something I've seen done. An effects pedal, a boss equalizer pedal. And holy smokes, can you ever get some wonderful effects. But anyway, that's the Windsor Studio, and played on a Godin Solidac. Hope you enjoyed it, and comment. I want to know what you think.